Hello friends and welcome to this lecture on alkyl halides. This lecture is divided into three parts. This first part will consist of alkyl halides methods of preparation and their reactions and some introduction to SN1 and SN2 reaction. The second and the third part will consist of factors affecting the SN1 and SN2 reactions. So, let us begin with the first part, that is alkyl halides. If you have any difficulty in this lecture, please feel free to write to me at the mail ID that is given over here, or you can also write to me on the YouTube page. So let us begin with alkyl halides. Alkyl halides are represented by the general formula Rx, where R is the alkyl group and X is any halide. This any halide can be chloride, fluoride, bromide, iodide. Most of the times it is chloride, bromide, or iodide. Let us first try to understand the methods of preparation of alkyl halides. The first method of preparation is from alkanes. You have done this in 11-12 standard, I suppose. This is just a repetition. Any alkane, when it is treated with chlorine in presence of light, undergoes a free radical reaction and results in formation of alkyl halide. But this reaction does not exclusively give one single product. There are several disadvantages of this reaction, and the disadvantages will include, in case of propane, formation of 1-chloropropane, formation of 2-chloropropane, and multiple chlorinated products of propane. Second method of preparation is from alcohols. So, when any alcohol is treated with hydrochloric acid, it accepts a proton first, gets converted to OH2 plus. Now this OH is a poor leaving group. We will see it in the course of this chapter. But just remember, OH is a poor leaving group. So it does not leave very fast. What should be done? It should be protonated. Once it is protonated, it becomes a good leaving group. It leaves fast and chloride substitutes the OH. So it is from alcohols that alkyl halides can be formed. This is the most common method of preparation of alkyl halides. But the disadvantage is this reaction requires acidic conditions, and if the other part, that is this R, is susceptible to degradation under acid, then this method cannot be used. But there is another method that has been used in such circumstances, and that method consists of treating the alcohol with CH3SO2Cl. So what happens? The alcohol gets converted to O, S double bond O, CH3. Now OH getting converted to this mesylate. This is called as mesylate. This is methyl sulfonyl chloride. Okay, and the product formed is a mesylate. This mesylate becomes a very good leaving group. It leaves fast and gets converted to alkyl halide. Just remember, this is called as mesylate. Okay, going to the next method of preparation, and that is from alkenes. Any alkene, when it is treated with HX, accepts a proton. The double bond accepts a proton and then X is substituted. Okay, so this alkenes undergo addition reaction in presence of HX to give alkyl halide. Now, this addition reaction can happen in a Markovnikov way or anti-Markovnikov way. These two words, I suppose, are familiar to you. You have learned them in 12th standard. Okay, so the net result is the reaction is called as a regioselective reaction. Okay, in other words, where halide goes is decided by the reaction. So, effectively, there are three major methods of preparation of alkyl halide: from alkanes, from alcohols, and from alkenes. The most commonly used method is from alcohol, followed by preparation from alkene. Coming to the reactions of alkyl halide. The reactions of alkyl halides are divided into two major categories. One is a substitution reaction and another is elimination reaction. Let us see the substitution reactions first. These substitution reactions are called as nucleophilic substitution. Why? Because alkyl halide has a good leaving group. The halide is a good leaving group. So halide leaves and another nucleophile enters in. Therefore, it is a nucleophilic substitution reaction. Okay, examples are given here. Ethyl bromide, when it is treated with hydroxide, gets converted to ethanol, whereas tertiary butyl bromide, when treated with hydroxide, gets converted to tertiary butyl alcohol. Apart from, as I mentioned, apart from substitution, there are elimination reactions. One example, the simple example, let us see the second example as a simple example of elimination reaction. Okay, when you treat an alkyl halide with very concentrated solution of OH minus at an elevated temperature, then instead of undergoing substitution reaction, it undergoes elimination reaction. How it undergoes elimination reaction? Just try to understand the mechanism. This OH minus, instead of attacking this carbon, will attack this hydrogen. Okay, when it attacks this hydrogen, this electron pair, which is the bond forming electron pair, shifts over here. This carbon cannot become pentavalent, so this bromine leaves with a pair of electrons. Some things you have to remember while writing the mechanism. The arrow should originate at a place which is rich in electrons, and arrow should point at a place which is deficient in electrons. Okay, so this arrow has originated over here. It is pointing towards this. Now, when the electrons are approaching this hydrogen, this bond has excess electrons. So they shift over here. Why? Because at the same time, bromide is also leaving. And so the product is formed. There is one more possibility. This we are going to discuss later, why tertiary butoxide gives elimination reaction. Okay, but tertiary butoxide, when used as a nucleophile or as a base, does not undergo substitution reaction very easily. It undergoes elimination reaction, and this is the product that is formed. Now, your syllabus in this chapter contains substitution reaction, study of substitution reactions in detail. Okay, so this is the representative reaction. L stands for a leaving group. When RL reacts with a nucleophile, a new compound, substituted compound, RNU is formed, and the leaving group leaves with a pair of electrons. Okay, now this is, as I mentioned, a nucleophilic substitution reaction. Why? Because the nucleophile reacts with the alkyl halide or any other substrate which has a leaving group. Okay, so nucleophilic substitution reactions are of two types: SN1 and SN2 reaction. SN1 reaction, as the name suggests, are called as unimolecular reactions. And SN2 reactions are called as bimolecular reactions. Why SN1 are unimolecular? Because the rate of the reaction is decided by concentration of alkyl halide only. Whereas in case of SN2 reaction, the rate of the reaction is decided by concentration of alkyl halide as well as the nucleophile. So this is a bimolecular reaction, whereas SN1 is a unimolecular reaction. As far as reaction kinetics is concerned, SN1 is a first order reaction, SN2 is a second order reaction because both the reactants are involved. Now, one thing you have to understand very clearly, and that is number of steps. SN1 reaction, so many students confuse and think it is a one-step reaction. No, it is a two-step reaction. And this rate term will only tell you that it is a two-step reaction. Just see why. The reaction involves alkyl halide as well as a nucleophile. But the rate of the reaction is dependent only on one term. Therefore, there must be second step with another term, that is the concentration of nucleophile. Whereas this is a single step reaction because both alkyl halide as well as the nucleophile are involved in the rate determining step. Once again, SN1 is a unimolecular first order, and note the rate of the reaction dependent on alkyl halide only. This is bimolecular second order, and rate is dependent upon both alkyl halide as well as the nucleophile. Now coming to the SN1 reaction. I have written the reaction over here. There is tertiary butyl bromide. When it is treated with hydroxide ion, it forms tertiary butyl alcohol and bromide is released. In this is an SN1 reaction, and therefore rate of the reaction is dependent upon concentration of tertiary butyl bromide only. Okay. Now coming to mechanism. Look at this. Bromide is a good leaving group, so it leaves with a pair of electrons. Ensure that when you are writing mechanism, you write curved arrows, not straight arrows. Okay. So this results in formation of a charged intermediate, the carbocation. Okay. Now this carbocation in the second step is attacked by our nucleophile, that is OH minus, and the resultant product is tertiary butyl alcohol. Now there are two steps, but step one is the rate determining step. Now why is it rate determining step? It is called as rate determining step. Why is the step one rate determining step? Because in step one, what happens is an uncharged structure is getting converted to a charged intermediate. Okay. So, this is a high energy intermediate, and formation of this intermediate decides the rate of the reaction. What happens in the second step? There is a positively charged structure. It is attacked by negatively charged structure. This reaction is very, very simple. But the first step, where a charged intermediate is formed, is a time-consuming reaction, and therefore it is called as rate determining step. This requires time and energy. Now reactivity. We have seen that the carbocation, okay, just try to understand that this is a carbocation. I hope before looking at this lecture, you will have a look at the lecture on carbocations, so the concepts become more clear. Okay, so the intermediate is a carbocation. And formation of the carbocation is the rate determining step. So, more stable the carbocation, easy is the reaction. Okay. So, more stable the carbocation, easy is the reaction. That means stability of the carbocation decides the reactivity. Now, we have already seen in the lecture on carbocations that tertiary carbocation is more stable than secondary, more stable than primary. Therefore, what happens? A tertiary substrate, if RL is tertiary, it reacts very fast in SN1 reaction, followed by secondary, followed by primary substrate. Okay. So the reactivity in SN1 reaction for the substrate is tertiary greater than secondary greater than primary. Now coming to energy profile diagram. This is Rx or RL, the alkyl halide. This is the transition state where the bond is partially broken. The transition state then leads to a high energy carbocation intermediate. Okay. High energy carbocation intermediate. This then undergoes another transition state where the bond is partially formed. This is TS1, this is TS2. And then leads to the product. This product here is, I have shown as RL, but you can take it as OH. Okay. So this is the energy profile diagram, and try to understand the energy profile diagram very clearly, because the question is asked in the exam where you have to draw the energy profile diagram. Just note that this energy of activation is much higher than this energy of activation. Why? Is because in the second step, a charged intermediate is getting converted to an uncharged intermediate. The reaction is easy. Now, the next point to be considered is rearrangement of carbocations. Okay. Carbocation is an intermediate, as I mentioned in SN1 reaction. But as you have understood from the rearrangement of carbocations in the lecture on carbocation, that carbocations can rearrange. And this rearrangement of carbocation occurs by 1,2 shift. And this rearrangement increases the stability of the carbocation. Okay. So look at this. This is an N-propyl carbocation. Now this N-propyl carbocation is primary carbocation. And it can rearrange to secondary. How? Just see this. There is a pair of electrons. This hydrogen shifts with a pair of electrons to the adjacent carbon. Now what happens? This becomes CH3 and this carbon becomes electron deficient and therefore positive charge. As a result, what has happened? A primary carbocation has rearranged to a more stable secondary carbocation. Okay. But try to understand one thing. The energy difference between the primary and the secondary carbocation is not very large. Okay. If it is very large, then secondary will be the exclusive product. But this energy difference is low, and therefore secondary carbocation forms a major product, but there is some minor product which is formed due to primary carbocation. In other words, the primary carbocation will form N-propanol, N-propyl alcohol as the minor product, and 2-propanol will be formed from secondary carbocation as the major product. I repeat, the energy difference between primary and secondary carbocation is not very significant, and therefore both the products exist. It is not exclusively the rearranged product. So primary carbocation gives N-propyl alcohol, and the secondary carbocation gives 2-propanol. Now, N-propyl alcohol or 1-propanol is the minor product, 2-propanol is the major product. That is because secondary carbocation is more stable. Now, coming to stereochemistry of SN1 reaction. Okay, I have written here SN1 reaction where this carbon is a chiral carbon. So what happens upon SN1 reaction of chiral carbon? See, there are two possibilities. One is complete retention of configuration, complete inversion of configuration, or formation of a mixture of some retained configuration, some inverted configuration. So, let us see what happens in SN1 reaction. This is the alkyl halide. Okay, this alkyl halide loses halide and gets converted to a carbocation. Now just try to understand that sp3 hybridized carbon is getting converted to a carbocation which is sp2 hybridized. In other words, there is the more space now. Okay, this bond angle was 107. Here the bond angle is 120. Okay, this is a trigonal planar structure. But what, so actually attack of the nucleophile should be possible from both the sides, and you will expect a racemized product, 50% with same configuration, 50% with inverted configuration to form. But that doesn't happen. Why? Just imagine, a carbocation is formed, but the Cl minus, which has been separated from the carbocation, just lies in the vicinity of it. Okay. Now, when Cl minus in the initial stages lies in the vicinity, OH has no choice but to attack from the opposite side. Right? When OH attacks from the opposite side, the product that is formed has inverted configuration. Right? The initial configuration Cl was on your right. Now the Cl is on your left. So it is inverted configuration. Now let us understand what happens in the later stages. In the later stages, the Cl has moved sufficiently apart. Now, the carbocation can be attacked either from this side or from this side. And so, the net result is there is some amount of inverted product and some amount of configuration retained product. This is just same as this. Okay. So, that means this is a product where configuration is retained. This is opposite to this. Look at the starting material. Cl is on your right. Look at the product. OH is on your left. So, it is product with inverted configuration. And if this is formed in equal amounts, that means racemization of the product has occurred. Actually, we expect full racemization, but finally that does not occur because the product formed in the initial stages is only inverted product. And product formed in the later stages is racemized product. And so the net result of any SN1 reaction is racemization that happens in the later stages plus net inversion that happens in the initial stages. Okay. So there is some excess of inverted product and rest all is racemized product. Okay. So with this, we finish the SN1 reaction mechanism and others. Now, next part will be on SN2 reaction, and there is a small part called as SNI reaction. So we will cover that. Till then, thank you so much. If you have appreciated the lecture, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so that when I upload the next lecture, you will get an intimation for the same. If there are any difficulties, please feel free to approach me either on YouTube or on mail. Thank you so much.